In today's news, we see local Sergeant Mr. Oneal Bakker being admitted to the bar.
Football Association and the HLSCC Community College increase online learning capacity.
We're also catching up with Mrs. BVI Shibray Fred, of course. She's set to host a shoe drive and walk-a-thon tomorrow. You want to hear all about it.
A series of consultations have been hired through the government of the Virgin Islands. One is the Labor Code and the other is the former Deputy Financial Secretary who's been consulted for $108,000 to the Ministry of Finance. We have all these details and so much more. All this after a word from our sponsors. Welcome everybody. It's Friday, March 26, 2021. A fantastic Friday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Javon Wilson, coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Of course, we're so happy that you could have rocked with us throughout the week for local, regional, as well as international content. Now, topping our summary today, Ron, we do know about the water woes of Parakeeta Bay. The farmers have continued for years to complain about not having adequate water supply to, of course, to complement what they're trying to do as it relates to farming and food security. Finally, we see the Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, also working along with the Minister for Transportation Works and Utilities. Finally, we're seeing that some new distribution lines are being laid and water will be supplied soon enough to our farmers. So really happy to see that coming out from the government this week.
It's definitely about time that they get some assistance. Also on the summary, cruise tourists prefer to interact with vaccinated persons, says officials. Questions loom as to what's delaying police investigations here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, persons are also expected, exempted from travel ban must quarantine for a full 14 days. Residents and visitors say they are still a bit confused by the protocols, and CDB says private sector needs greater role in the COVID-19 recovery. We're of course going to keep you posted on a lot of these stories, not only today, but moving over throughout the weekend.
Absolutely. Now, beginning with good news. Now, we see local Sergeant Oneal Bakker just yesterday being called to the bar by the Honorable Society of Gray's Inn in the United Kingdom, becoming the territory's newest lawyer. Now, Barrister Bakker, originally from Guyana, has been a part of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for, get this, 14 years, serving in various capacities as he moved up the ranks. Now, he said it was a trying journey, but humbly extended his gratitude to the Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, who he says made his dreams a reality through financial assistance. Listen in. So we are here with Barrister Bakker, brand new, of course, moving through the ranks at the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force to now being called to the bar, a momentous occasion here in the Virgin Islands. Certainly a very proud moment. Tell us, how are you feeling today?
I'm truly humbled, I'm truly honored, but yet still so elated. So much emotions right now rushing through my brains, my heart, my entire being. But it's words can't begin to express. I'm just grateful and humble.
Wonderful. Now, you have moved to the ranks. I think it's been a great trajectory, how you've been able to move up the ranks in the police force, and clearly has done so well now being added to the bar. Tell us, what was that journey like, just moving up, and what was that dedication and commitment like?
The journey was tough, I must say, but the inspiration came from the same serving members that I would have mentioned, and a lot more. They're too much to mention, but these are the ones that make a lot of impact. like the commissioner said, I hit a number of walls at times, but it's just a matter of being disciplined, persevering, and just reaching for higher heights in spite of any odds.
You said be the change you want to see, which I think was a great statement to truly encapsulate your journey. You said be the changes that you want to see. All right, speak to that, because persons are of the opinion that once you're in a certain position, you be the best at that position. But clearly, you continue to push the glass ceiling. Speak to persons about that. That statement that you made.
Be the change that you want to see. A lot of times, we take up this profession as police officers for the wrong reasons. Being a police is not going to get you rich quick. It's not going to get you rich at all. So you got to make up in your mind that, okay, something more than money has to be the driving factor. For me, it's the victims of crime, it's the families that you would have been able to reach, community policing and the outreach. As a police officer, you rub shoulders with everyone in the community. You have to be able to go up when you need to and go down when you need to reach everyone. We have a saying where I come from in Guyana: when you mix with the kings and the queens, you must still know how to keep a common touch.
Right.
At the end of the day, life is going to throw some curveballs at you, like the commissioner said. It's not every day, it's not everything you ask for you're going to get. But sometimes when you hit a stumbling block, you just have to look back and say, okay, let me regroup, refocus my energies, and go again. And you just got to keep going. Now, in terms of change itself, change is inevitable. And if we don't change, we get left behind. Sometimes when you hit a stumbling block or a door closed, it simply means that change is inevitable. However, there could be good change and there could be bad change. For me, I learn in retrospect. So before I embark upon change, I like to look back, I like to reflect, restructure, and go again. And by doing that, you realize that where there's a will, there's a way, right? So that's the change I'm speaking about, and it's great to see it actually manifest itself in the end result. And I look forward to giving back to the BVI community, like the minister said, because that was my pledge to him from the get-go, and to the Commissioner of Police, to reaffirm my commitment to the force and to the public at large.
Excellent. That was a Barrister Bakker. Now, 6 years long, Oneal said that the journey was worth it, despite having to work full-time and, of course, being subjected to setbacks as a result of, finances. He also spoke about being set back because of the hurricanes Irma and Maria, and, of course, now living through this pandemic. But he was tenacious in his pursuit, and today we call him Lawyer Bakker. I think this is an incredible achievement. And within this time as well, added to that achievement, he was also able to acquire his pilot license.
Amazing.
So when I tell you this is a story of resilience
Absolutely.
and commitment, trust me, this is what we mean when we speak about limitless possibilities. So we want to extend a hearty congratulations to Sergeant Oneal Bakker.
A great example of perseverance. Now continuing on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, the BVI Football Association has launched a series of coaches education courses both via an online app and in collaboration, of course, with the HLSCC Community College. Now the strengthened partnership with HLSCC now includes provisions of coaching courses that are to benefit anyone looking to break onto a coaching pathway, understand performance and how to improve it from both the coaches and athletes' perspective, as well as further developing coaching ability, and is also with the Center of Professional Development and Community Education, which is a self-sustaining and income-generating unit providing leadership in addressing the professional development and community education needs of the territory and, of course, by extension, the Caribbean region. Now, this all forms part of the Workforce Training Division at the HLSCC Community College. In an official comment, they said our Football Association coaching courses in partnership with the college have been designed to boost the knowledge and understanding of coaching across all sports in our region and beyond are the full accreditation in those who wish to complete those courses, explained Football Technical Director Mr. Dan Neville. Now he continued by saying the courses online deliver live but expert practitioners at times that will hopefully suit coaches and reflect the Football Association's committed commitment to developing its coaching and, of course, turn the level of participation on our islands up a notch and beyond. CPDEC was previously known at the Office of Centers and Institutes. Now this office has been rebranded and restructured to better meet the needs of the business and general community. Professional development refers to skills and knowledge attained to both personal development and career advancement that encompasses all types of facilitated learning opportunities ranging from college certifications to formal workshops, conferences, and informal learning opportunities situated in internationally acceptable principles and practices. Now, on the other hand, community education encompasses all those approaches and activities that are concerned with lifelong learning, and that has been established through educational and enrichment programs with the local community. Now, the launch of the new range of courses further develops the ties with the Football Association and the college, following on, of course, from the access to the courses that are offered by the International Soccer Science and Performance Federation. A great partnership, of course, with the HLSCC Community College. And when it comes to sports, Jovan, we see the Football Association really making remarkable strides to not only train local athletes, but to make sure that the coaches are trained as well, and really introducing the whole sporting arena to the college. I think it's phenomenal, and they should be congratulated.
Absolutely, but this is kind of how you curate winners when you think about not just doing well locally, but regionally and internationally as well. And like you said, the team continues to do well, and especially now that they're overseas representing.
Curacao doing wonderful things.
All the best. Now we are going to go to a quick commercial break.
Yes, still ahead. A register of interesting acts amended to support the transparency, and former Deputy Financial Secretary consulted for a consultation job within the Ministry of Finance. That's the former Deputy Financial Controller. We also see the tender processes being waived for that. We have all the details and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The win.
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the
Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and our partners that hold us down. It's season 2 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, taking you on the most inspiring journey with the best and brightest distinguished gentlemen of the BVI. Raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men like you've never seen them before. Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Jovan Klein, Neil Klein, and so much more. Turning modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen with yours truly, Ron Grant, a 284 Media production.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Thanks so much for sticking with us. Continuing on the local scene here in Tortola, former Deputy Financial Secretary Mr. Wendell Gaskin was recently awarded a contract to support the Ministry of Finance for consultancy services. Now, in a recent Cabinet decision, Cabinet decided that exceptional approval be granted to waive the tender process to award a new contract to Wendell M. Gaskin, CFE, for consultancy services, in the amount of $108,000 for 12 months to provide support to the Ministry of Finance consultancy services to assist government with its constitutional obligation to have current annual audited financial statement, to also provide a comprehensive analysis of government expenditure, and to make recommendations on how to bring greater efficiency in the day-to-day operations. Now, Gaskin has served as a Deputy Financial Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and was also a former chairman of the BVI Ports Authority. Now, additionally, the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands has approved the appointment of Ms. Shanice Leonard as a member of the Parole Board for a period of 3 years in accordance with the Section 4 of the Parole Act 2009, with effect from 1st April 2021. This is, of course, to fill the vacancy resulting from the resignation of Mr. Trevor Grant. Now, additionally, Cabinet confirmed the reappointment of the following persons as members of the BVI Parole Board for a period of 3 years in accordance with Section 4. They are, effective from April 1st, 2021, Ms. Kia Huggins, Dr. Thomas Alexander and Reverend Paul Ricketts. As of February 1st, 2021, Mr. Ishmael Scatliff, Mrs. Rosemary Flax, and Ms. Fiona Forbes will also serve on the board, and the recommendation has been continued for Mr. Ishmael Scatliff to continue to serve as chairman of the parole board by appointment of the government in accordance with Section 4 of the Parole Act 2009. Now, the parole is supervised under conditional release of a prisoner before the completion of his or her prison sentence. The Parole Act 2009 established the Parole Board of the Virgin Islands. Now, the board's primary responsibility is to ensure public protection by making informed parole decisions and to successfully reintroduce qualified offenders into the community through supervised conditional release. Jovan, a very important board here in the BVI as we see prisoners continue to seeking early release by appealing their cases, and this board is tasked with essentially giving them a second chance.
All right, and we hope that goes well. But as we move on in today's newscast, the government of the Virgin Islands continues to bring forward and support major change to legislation in the spirit of cooperation, good governance, and transparency, and in the best interest of the territory. Now, new legislation was passed on Friday, March 12th, which amends the Register of Interests Act 2006 that now allows the Commission of Inquiry COI to review the register directly. Now, this amendment brought forward by the government, passed by the House of Assembly, and having received assent from the governor means that the register of members' interests can now be directly shared with the COI. Now, following the launch of the COI on January 19, 2021, the government of the Virgin Islands recognized the importance of granting access to the commissioner in order to share information legally and quickly. Until now, the register of interests of members of the House of Assembly could only be shared in certain circumstances, namely in criminal investigations, legal proceedings, or on written request by a member. Now, under this framework, the COI could not access the register. It is in the spirit of cooperation and transparency that the government of the Virgin Islands has acted decisively to amend those legislations while maintaining the laws and interests of the Virgin Islands. Now, commenting on the change in legislation was the Premier and Minister for Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, who said, and I quote, "The government of the Virgin Islands has acted decisively to change the legislation and to provide access for the COI to the members of the Register of Interests. Now, through this action, alongside the creation of the IRU, we have put in place a structure to foster cooperation and transparency with the COI, and we will continue to act collaboratively in order to facilitate the inquiry," end of quote. Now, viewers, this change in legislation is an important step in providing the Commission with the relevant information and, of course, follows up from the creation of the Inquiry Response Unit, which, of course, was devised by the Government of the Virgin Islands as announced on February 5th, 2021. The IRU has been set up to facilitate and coordinate the government's engagement with the Commission of Inquiry. The IRU is also independently led by Sir Geoffrey Cox QC and is administered by law firm Withers. Now, the IRU also reports to the Honorable Attorney General, supporting the Attorney General's chambers in ensuring that information is provided to the inquiry in a systematic, efficient, and of course well-organized way, which is both auditable and accountable. The IRU will also assist ministers and the public officers to understand their duties in relation to the inquiry. Around, we see the government continuing to make efforts to bridge the gap.
Yes.
Of course, engage the public service, especially as much as possible, and really finding ways to engage the community, I think, extensively to ensure that persons can come forward if necessary to cooperate and of course, to support the Commission of Inquiry here in the Virgin Islands.
It's very important.
Our viewers, still ahead, we do see Mrs. BVI Shibari Frat set to host a walk-a-thon and a shoe drive tomorrow. We want to tell you all about that, as well as we see the consultant being hired for a labor code review right here in the Virgin Islands. So all that and so much more when we return from this quick commercial break. Stick with us.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now on we go with the newscast this Saturday, that is tomorrow, of course, March 27th. Mrs. Universe British Virgin Islands Shabray Fret will be hosting a walk-a-thon as well as a shoe drive with her organization, Lend a Hand BVI. Now we were able to catch up with the Queen to hear more about the initiative, so listen in.
Hi, my name is Shabri Fret, the founder of Lend a Hand BVI, and this Saturday we're hosting a walk-a-thon and shoe drive. This gives an opportunity for members in the community to not only get fit at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow, but to donate unwanted shoes of all sizes for both genders. And if you are unable to get up that early tomorrow, you can always email us at lendahandbvi@gmail.com. And the purpose of this event is to help those in need, especially families who may have kids who grow out of shoe sizes pretty quickly. So this just gives an opportunity to help those in need in a simple way. And we'll be starting at 6:30 a.m. from Walmart Supermarket parking lot, and we'll be ending at Queen Elizabeth II Park.
You know, Ron, I know we've had this conversation a few times, but when you think about pageantry, you really think about the face, you think about beauty, you think about poise, and you think about body. You don't necessarily think about the humanitarian efforts. And a lot of these pageants, especially here in the BVI, we see that they continue to extend their platforms to the community. And one of the things the Mrs. BVI franchise is committed to is ensuring that young girls within the community use their influence in an impactful way. So we do see Shabray Fret within, I guess, acknowledging the climate that we're living in, which is through this pandemic, acknowledging some of these constraints and the financial strains we've seen throughout this time, recognizing that there is a need in the community, and asking the community to come forward. So I'm really happy to see not just the walk-a-thon for health and wellness, but also an effort to give back to the community. So we want to encourage persons to come out tomorrow.
Well, recently, Ms. Fred also made an appearance and spent pretty much the day with the students at the BVI Autism Center, which is in line again with humanitarian efforts. I think it is more and more important for persons in such positions, when we look at it in the beauty pageant world, to really step aside from, just like you mentioned, the beauty, the poise, the more superficial presentation, and to really serve the community. And it's heartwarming to see, especially the younger young ladies, the younger queens, do this with such grace and poise.
Absolutely, and you know, just speaking to her today, recognizing that her committee has activities planned, I think, every month going forward. So she's going to be very much on the ground and very involved in the community. And we want to use this opportunity as well to ask wider BVI to extend your support to our Queen, not just when she gets on the international stage, but now give her the support that she needs. And again, if you can support, do come out tomorrow and be a part of that drive. You can bring used or new shoes. Somebody in the community will be blessed by your contributions.
And again, Jovan, this is all through her personal foundation,
Platforms.
Am I correct? Her
yes,
platform.
Lend a Hand BVI.
Lend a Hand BVI,
which
wonderful.
Is remarkable.
Congratulations, Ms. Fred, on a job well done. Continuing on the local scene, the government of the Virgin Islands has agreed to review the Labor Code 2010 for its modernization and to bring it more in line with the current BVI labor market and industry standards. Now, with this in mind, the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands in a recent cabinet meeting decided that the government engage Mr. Mikhail Trubosky as consultant to work on a collaborative basis with the Attorney General's chambers to undertake the review of the Labor Code 2010 effective March 24th, 2022, and of course to provide the Ministry of Natural Resources, Labor and Immigration with the following deliverables: a draft revised and simplified labor code for the Virgin Islands, a draft labor regulations for construction and marine industries, a national organization health and safety regulation according to the International Labor Organization standards. Now, the cost of this consultation is some $24,000 for the works to be provided on the Labor Code review. And of course, the Cabinet also decided that Part X work permits of the Labor Code 2010 shall not apply to the consultants engaging by the government of the Virgin Islands, and the statutory bodies, of course, established by it is for this duration of the engagement of the Virgin Islands. Jovan, this review comes as welcomed news to many persons. We have a lot of legislations in the Virgin Islands that are simply dated and they do not work. And I think COVID-19 and, of course, the events of Hurricanes Irma and Maria, particularly COVID-19, have allowed us to really focus in on the fact that these legislations need amending. And we see here with the Labor Code, it is up for review, and the government is putting some money into it to make sure that persons get the opportunity to have a revised Labor Code 2010.
Well, one of the things we have been calling for, and it's very important, especially during this time, like you said, is for immigration reform. And we've been looking at it from very different aspects. I'm happy to see this because, just today I read a post that said, we often talk about the crime issue as if, it's not a part of the community, or it's not affecting us, or it's not next door, we're exclusive, and not recognizing that we have the ability to change that. One of the things we saw just, I think, last year amidst the conversations of immigration was the fact that the Immigration and Labor Department really needs a reform, simply because opportunities should first be offered to locals, and wherever those opportunities arise, locals should be listed first, and that's not necessarily the process.
True.
And the approach. So we see lots of persons having to be imported. But if we are to really embrace this reform, I do feel like we can begin to address the mass immigration issue we've been seeing here in the Virgin Islands.
Well, recently in a conversation with the chairperson of the BVI Chamber of Commerce, and a lot of the labor issues that we're now seeing as a result of COVID-19, both on the employer's perspective and the employees, employers being forced to pay severance in a very short time, and employees getting the negative end of the stick because they're now without a job. The chairman really spoke to the fact that, in her opinion, there needs to be a policy change, and I think hopefully this is what we're going to see when it comes to the Labor Code, really attributing and making a way forward so both the employer and employees could benefit in a holistic avenue, and you don't have a situation where businesses are closing down, where employers can't pay severance, there's no succession planning. I think all of this needs to be considered, and we look forward to seeing some positive remarks.
And that does not only identify with the pandemic that we're living in.
Yes.
We also live in a hurricane-prone region, which means we're subjected to disasters technically every year, God forbid. But we have to be preparing for those realities, and one of the things we have been calling for is reforming in those areas. So definitely looking forward to that. Ron, what are you up to for this weekend?
It's going to be a good weekend of fatherhood, as you know. So we're going to be busy and on our best behavior. Going? It's going well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I definitely plan to hit the water this weekend.
Nice.
Very
Beach
well.
bum?
Yes, much needed. But viewers, we want to encourage you to join us via our website. Even though we're not technically working on the weekends, we are working on the weekends.
Always.
Of course, always keeping you well informed and keeping those articles updated via our website. I cannot stress this enough. There's so much available, especially on the regional international scene as well. And it's so important that we continue to be updated on what's going on in the world around us, because we're all interconnected, especially within this pandemic season. But you can check us out at 284media.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram and Twitter as well. If you want to binge watch, check us out on YouTube. But for now, my name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. We do wish you the very best for the rest of the day and, of course, the weekend. We're 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news, right here in Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Fantastic Friday. Happy Friday, guys. Bye-bye.